Well, good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. Today is July 12th, 2026, and I am looking at the Stellar Lumens chart, ticker symbol XLM, specifically the Coinbase chart. Before we get started, I am an amateur trader and investor. I have a day job that does not involve trading. Therefore, I probably lack the nuance of a professional trader. That being said, I do enjoy looking at charts and going over them, so I spend a lot of time in them. My goal on this channel is just to go over what I'm seeing in the charts. Uh, if I help you investigate an asset more or to help you make a trading decision that you didn't see before, that's all I'm trying to do. I don't need anything else. So, what I want to talk about today with XLM is just to kind of give a little bit of bad news and maybe a positive glimmer. Okay. The last time we spoke, we had talked about XLM being in this long term wedge channel. And we said that, in May 2026, there was some really great news for XLM. You can go research that if you want. It's like really big news. Uh, I don't, because this is a charting channel. I don't really want to go over fundamentals, but it was a big news. But since then, essentially, XLM has been going down. Okay. And I mentioned that there was probably going to be some more downside to XLM, and unfortunately, that was the case. And I'm here to tell you today there's going to be some more downside to XLM. But based on some things I was kind of seeing on X and just comments on YouTube and things like that, I felt like I just wanted to give um, a quick reassuring word about XLM. So let's just talk brass tacks here. Okay. This wedge is neither a bull flag nor a bear flag. Sometimes it is referred to as a coil. And a coil is kind of like a ranging market. However, because we're looking at it much long-term perspective, there are little mini bull and bear runs that are happening inside this coil. For example, at the start of this coil, there was a 14-month bull market. This was between 2020 and 2021. Then it had a bear market, and it had its next bull market in August of 2024, and that was about 3 months. And that took us to November of 2024. And then since then, we've been in a bear market from a daily perspective. Okay. Again, we're looking at the monthly chart. So it doesn't look that quite that long, but it really is. Today, obviously, so since December of 2024, well over a year ago, we've been in a bear market, at least as it seems from a daily perspective. Okay. And recently on the 5-day chart, if we bring up the 50 and then the 200, it had a death cross in June. And the exact date was, it looks like it was pretty much on the cusp, whatever this date is. It says it's June 5th. So on June 5th, there was confirmed death cross for on the 5-day chart. Now, I don't talk about this a lot, but death crosses are kind of like events based on the time frame. For example, if you go to the daily chart, we had a death cross months ago. And then you can just keep on going, like 2-day, 3-day. You could even put 4-day up, but we're on the 5th day and we've had a death cross. And it looks like we're going to have a death cross on the weekly time frame. If I were to guess, maybe August, maybe into July. There's the 200 moving average is about right here. Let me see if I can hide these. Okay, so this is your 200 moving average, and the death cross occurs when the 50 crosses below the 200. So that means there's definitely some more downside to XLM. To reinforce this downside, if we go to our weekly chart, uh, we're not in oversold territory for XLM. Its worst oversold in the past was back here, I think, yeah, it was 2023, maybe. Let me go back further. It might be, let's see here. Yeah, I think it was 2023. Let's just call it a recent one. Okay, but let's pull this out. Its worst was down here when it first started. That was at 24, and we are sitting at 44. This means that we were getting close. We came down pretty close, and it looked like, based on this RSI, that we were just going to start skyrocketing up, but we did it. We went down, and we had a weekly stochastic RSI cross in March 2026, and it's going down now. And the money flow index even got close to overbought in May 2026, when this spike was happening, but now it's going on down. So the question is what is going on? Is there any future for XLM? Okay. And we'll look at one more thing before I kind of discuss where we're going to the future. This is the ADX, and we are in a trend. This white line just measures trend momentum. It doesn't, it just because it's pointed up has nothing to do with what price is doing. It's just saying that there's a trend on the weekly chart. And as you can see, price is going down, but what are you seeing? This blue line represents buying, and this red line represents selling. Why is the price going down? Why there is more buying and then selling? And if we go to the daily chart, okay, you can see that the buying and the selling are very close together. But on the daily, from a daily perspective, the ADX says we are not trending. We are in a ranging market, even though we're definitely seeing some highs and lows, and it keeps going down. Okay, but the ADX is confused, and there's a reason why it's confused. Is because earlier I was talking about bullish news. Okay, and 2026 has been a great year for XLM because there's been at least 12 pieces of very bullish news according to it. And to keep the channel, to keep this video short, I'm not going to go after over every bullish news point. But what you could do is go to ChatGPT, go to Grok, go to Claude, and say, please tell me the bullish news for XLM in 2026. And it will probably outline some really big ones. Okay? Go research that and see if you find that interesting. So what's going on here? Okay? Yes, there is some market manipulation, okay, going on here. Okay? Institutions are buying and selling at a great clip, and they are pushing the price down a little bit. Okay? However, this is not all market manipulation. As much as I'd like to blame it on Wall Street, it's not all because of that. It's also because, as long-term investors of XLM, they're capitulating eventually. They don't see the hope. Okay? Let me give you an example. Let's say you were really into XLM and you bought up here because you heard about the hype of XLM, and this was 2017. Okay? So practically a decade ago. And you were hoping that, okay, I'm going to get in now and XLM is going to go much farther. So that means that over a decade, you have seen XLM never reach a new all-time high. And it's starting to, in this coil, each high is getting lower. So as you can tell, in 2021, the high was higher. And in 2024, it was lower. So again, see how this is a angled wedge pattern. Each high gets lower and lower. Okay? And so now for the bearish news. Okay, I'm just trying to lay it out for you so you can have better expectations. Okay, I would not be surprised. I don't know if this is going to happen. I'm not an oracle. Okay, but if I were to take my little brush here. I think I mentioned this in my last video. I would not be surprised if we see the price come down here. Okay. And here's the thing. If price breaks this trend line, the bad news is, okay, if we create a line like this, oops, let me bring this over here. It's getting confused by those things here. We're going to bring the line up here. I'm just showing you how this is done. So this is the start of the wedge pattern. The first touch on the bottom, okay? Come over here, and let's say we break here. There's a very good likelihood we're going to 0.004360. Okay? Even with all the bullish news. There's a good chance. Okay? I mean, I'm not saying a great chance, but it's definitely a possibility. Okay? Now, here's another, I'm going to move this away. Here's another possibility too. You could see XLM come down and hit this trend line, and the last two times it hit the trend line was the start of the bull market for XLM. So let's say it comes down here, and let's just say theoretically it's probably sometime in November or December. Okay, and we see it go all the way here. It's going to have trouble getting over this particular resistance line. Okay, and if it hits it, there's a good chance that we're going to have, this is going to be the start of the bear. So you could see price go all the way down here, okay, and then hit here again. And the question is when that happens, will this trend line hold? Right now, there's no, there's 3 touches at the top and there's 3 touches at the bottom, okay? So either or could happen, okay? But what I'm trying to say is that we've already had 2 bull and 2 bear markets again. There's nothing that says that we couldn't have 2 more. So if this means that XLM, it really depends on where you bought XLM. You're just going to have to check your records to see. But if you've been investing in XLM for a long time, you're probably up here somewhere, maybe halfway. Maybe you're down here. Maybe you were new to crypto and you got in here, so you're in a better spot. But there's a chance that XLM could come and touch this bottom and go up here, and let's just say that by May of 2027, it hits this line. And if it's unable to get across it, then that means this would probably be the start of the bear market, and that means that we would have to wait until 2028, 2029 to start another bull run. If it's going to occur, if it's not going to break down. Okay. Now, if we were to touch this bottom here for this bear market, okay, that would be about, and let's just say it happens in December of 2026. I have no evidence that it's going to happen then. Let's just say it goes to here. Okay, that's about, nope, that's too far. Sorry. I said December. I think I did January. Yeah, I'm not doing that correctly. Okay, last try. This is just the estimate. So you may be sitting somewhere between 260 to 290% gain. Okay, now let's be realistic here. While that might not be exciting crypto wise, there's stocks that never do that. Okay, when they talk about a great bull run for a stock, sometimes it's like 130%. Okay, there are stocks that make greater gains than that, but generally, okay, this is 291% would be an excellent gain. Okay, and if we end up having to wait till 2029, okay, that will be, okay, so if that's over here, all right, the question is, if this bottom trend line doesn't break and it breaks up here, where could it go? Well, let's just do both scenarios. Let's just say the best thing happens in the world that this December, okay, in 2026, it breaks out. And I'm not saying it is, I think it's a low likelihood. The estimated price would be $16 a coin. Right now, we're at 18 cents. That is, if it were to happen, I don't know if it is, okay? All right, but just based on this chart, that would be an 11,000% gain, okay? All right, if it happens in 2029, so we go down here, that would be $14. That's still really good. That would be a approximately 6,125% gain. Again, that's pretty incredible. Okay. All right. So here's my point. Stocks are expensive. It's not uncommon for a stock to cost over $500 a stock. Okay. XLM is 18 cents a coin. Okay. If you are a new investor, you're young in your life, or you're just starting to trade and invest for the first time, this represents an incredible opportunity that could occur. Okay, the reason why it could occur, issue one. I mean, probability one. There's a lot of great bullish news about XLM that came out this year. I encourage you to go research it, and you can kind of judge that bullish news yourself. Okay. The other option, the other thing to consider is this wedge pattern. This is a very common wedge pattern that happens, but it's usually drawn from a daily perspective. We're looking at this from a 2-month perspective, from a week perspective. This is a week perspective, but we had it on for, this is a multi-year wedge pattern. Okay. And so if there was a breakup to the upside from now at any point, we're talking several dollars a coin, and you're buying it, if you were to buy it today, at 18 cents. Okay. If you are a trader and investor, this is just my encouragement to you. Okay. If you are emotional, in other words, you're using money that you need to pay rent, to pay a car, to pay a debt, pay a student loan, okay? I would recommend get those other things under control first. Okay? XLM will be here. Okay? You can maybe put a little bit of money in it, but be aware that you could be waiting till 2029, maybe even in the 2030s before it does this big hit. Okay? But if it does do its big hit, it would be huge. Okay? Also be aware that you have to keep track that every time it hits this green line here, it may collapse. It could go down much lower before it starts trying to go up again. Okay, because that's a possibility too. For example, what would cause that? Well, if you had some really terrible news about XLM, okay, I'm going to mention one of the bullish cases for XLM. The DTCC, which is the repository that holds all the stock certificates for Wall Street, is tokenizing those stocks on XLM. If, let's say, 6 months from now, DTCC says, oh, we tried to tokenize the stocks on XLM, but it just didn't work, price is going to crash. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I've heard no rumors. I'm just giving you an example. Okay? So some sort of bearish news could, yes, crash the market. Okay? But right now, okay, XLM is still in a bear run. It is actually, when I say a bear run, it's on some statistics, it looks like it's ranging. But clearly, what's going on is there is some market manipulation. But it is a fact that while big institutions can manipulate price, there is a limit to their manipulation. They can only manipulate it so long. They don't have all the money in the world. They have a lot of money, but they don't have all the money in the world. And they know the best ways to frustrate retail investors to get the price where they want it to be. Therefore, my only plea to you is the following, okay? Be responsible with your money in the sense of you should not be trading with money that you need to pay and live day to day. But if you've got $10, $20, okay, even more if it's available to you, do not put it all in XLM. Okay. However, this is I think, a good investment to get into. And it is one that could pop, but it could also crash. And so that's why you do not want to put everything into XLM. Okay. If you have, if you can, for example, put $10 into XLM every month for the next year, this whole period that is here is a great time to buy. Okay. If XLM starts rocketing, you can stop investing in it. And if it hits this trend line and it looks like it's going down, sell. Wait for it to come down. Watch it carefully. You will see spikes going up and down. It's up to you. But if it was me and I didn't need that money in 5 years, heck, if I don't need that money in 8 years, I'm not going to be putting thousands of dollars necessarily in XLM, but I could put $10 down. That's like the price of eating out one meal. You could, for, the next couple, 2 or 3 years, you could put $10 a month down on this product. And if you're not going to miss that, it could pay off for you big time in the future. Okay. Keep in mind, you make your money in the bear market, not the bull market. And what I mean by that is when you are investing in a particular asset or stock at its lowest point, when it actually runs, that's when you get the money. You do not get the money waiting till it gets here or up there. Okay? You have to be willing to invest when it's at its worst. Okay? I'm not trying to pump XLM for you. I don't need to do that. To be honest with you, we don't have enough money to pump this. Okay? It requires a lot of people to pump this coin. Okay? I don't have that type of influence. And so I get nothing out of this. Just telling you this. Okay? Other than I know that there are many other people out there. The reason why I got into trading is because I was getting frustrated with bank returns and just I was having money problems as well. So I've been there. I know that there are others like me in the past that have been there too. My only encouragement to you is just to stay calm, involve Jesus Christ in your worries and your concerns. Okay? And first and foremost, you need to take care of what you need to take care of. Do not treat trading as gambling. It's not a bet. Okay? If you need to, put a stop loss under this line. Okay? But just be aware, that sometimes market manipulators, they will drop it below this line on purpose, and then you'll see it go up. Okay? So my recommendation for XLM is this is a great time to buy anywhere in this lower half. I know we were expecting it to hopefully run and pop above this trend line. It didn't happen, and there's more signs of downside than there is of upside. Okay? For the next several months, I think institutions are going to manipulate XLM. And when I mean manipulate, they're going to buy and sell it like crazy. So you're going to see these weird kind of spikes where it's going to just range between this level here. Okay. And then at some point, it will probably take off. And I can't tell you when that's going to happen. It'll probably happen whenever those market manipulators feel that they've positioned well enough into the particular stock. Okay. So that's all I have for today. May God bless your family and be safe out there and try to think about things rationally and just have the right expectations. Don't expect instant lottery type winnings with XLM.